Syed dulu yang share dengan saya, our attitude determines our altitude. And basically it's attitude. This is my PhD. I did about human skin. So this is my supervisor. I graduated from Cardiff University. The campus is just by the roadside. Tengah jalan-jalan je next to city center. Then you can see this building. So UiTM is even great. Tapi dia ada main campus dia kat tempat lain lah. Okay. So this is my external examiners. My examiner during my viva. Okay, this is my chronology. So alhamdulillah I managed. I submitted 2007. I joined January. Then my viva is on 21st December. Just 4 days before Christmas. This is my thesis. Okay, and during the viva tu, I managed to bring one of my publication. Masa tu tak ada lagi Q1, Q2. The rank tak ada. It's just that this is one of two. The Journal of Biomechanics ni, once you publish in that means it's a flagship. The people will say you can graduate lah, insyaAllah. Okay, so in our case, the main programs or the document reference is always to exist. So I hope, I encourage you be well versed with this book. This is the latest one, Process and Procedure of Postgraduate Research Degree Program. So it has all the content there. Boleh tengok kat sini. Mesti be well versed with this book. And then I'm going to introduce, I know that some of you doing master, some of you doing PhD, but when we talk about PhD, we need to see what is the criteria. Before I graduated my PhD, saya nak tahu dia what is the criteria to graduate. So I search on the net. So when I search on the net, then I see this. The word is dissertation, significant contribution, discovery of knowledge, significant publications, and then there's the word of novelty. So either you doing masters also, basically we will see dia tak banyak beza. And then the new theory, the level of new theory ni you can see that this is one school of thought. Saya pegang pada ni, senang nak evaluate. So if you come out in your research ni, if you doing you come out with new theory, new equation, for example Newton's law, come out with Newton's law or Hooke's law, okay, in mechanics, to the highest level lah. So it can be Jamal's law, Mal's law. By the way, I have Mal's law. Mungkin ada juga kita buat Afzan's law. Okay, Afzan's equation. So that is the highest level. If not, we develop tools. We develop tools, new method, new product, new material that is considered there, but still good. The last one, you furnish new data, accept or reject existing theory. Basically, ni kalau masters okay lagi lah. For PhD, you target at least at this level. Kalau tak boleh come up with equation pun. Now the form and rubric. The form and rubric. This is the form for DRT. This is the latest one, 2019. There's a lot of section there, but I'm going to focus the one that's given to me, problem statement dengan literature review. Okay, problem statement and literature review. So I'm just showing you kat sini. This is what you've been evaluated lah, 20%. Untuk DRT pun is just saying that very clear of problem or very clear rational and justification. Kat situ dia. So we're talking about research gap, research gap, analysis of problem. So literature review, section number 4 is asking you about ability to organize different bodies of knowledge, good evidence of organization, and then also your punya framework, you construct your framework there. So this is basically related to my topic, literature review. And this is what will be evaluated lah, dia punya marking kat situ. Masih ada yang thesis, apa dia? Nampak slide saya? Oh, masih thesis. Sekarang ni saya punya slide showing DRP probing. Nampak?
Nampak sir. Nampak
Ya,
DRP
nampak.
probing JM style.
Nampak Prof?
JM style.
Okay. Okay. So kalau rajin, what you can do, you search you search for top 40 Viva question ni. Of course you're not going to Viva yet, but in preparation But always the problem is that even though in your Viva, they will ask you hot question, contohnya, who will be interested with your work, something like that, or where can you contribute, what's your long-term punya aim. But then the real paid is actually about the fundamental and theoretical aspect. So basically when we talk about that, fundamental theoretical aspect, literature review lah, literature review. Okay. So be meticulous Be meticulous. Meticulous ni means teliti Because we don't want that you make a lot of error. So if you have a lot of error, ni saya minat dengan Jamaluddin punya quote ni, if you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? So make sure first time tu kalau boleh buat, do it right for the first time. Untuk delay kan, sebab we are talking about GOT, graduate on time. Okay, what to probe during the DRP? These are the things that you can see. Nanti saya share je lawak dengan slide ni, no problem. But the one that thing is that literature review. I'm focusing that literature review, extensive or not, because the results or the discussion analysis basically DRP ni tak clear lah, unless Viva kan. Tak, it's just preliminary. But literature review ni is something very important. I would say that it's the one that is one of the main important items dalam DRP punya proposal tu. Proposal. So I talk about the novelty also. Mana nak dapat? Okay, they look at your research gap. You show your research gap, then you are addressing it. So itu nampak you main novelty. From that also you can look from your expected outputs. You're going to tell the expected output. Tapi basically, can you highlight the research gap? And then if you can come up with a table, evidence, maybe if you can come up with a table comparing the proposed and past study would be good. And also the number of references. Is it substantial? Banyak tak? So if you're doing masters, I would say, kalau master by research ni, kalau if you can come up with 70, that will be very good. For PhD tu, ataupun PhD 70, masters 50 lah. Tapi more than that would be good. And then, is it recent? Ada tak recent? Because you want to back up your research gap tu, it must be from recent references. And then the fundamental, during this DRP also they will ask you the fundamental, not only something that you have presented in your report, something not presented pun panel boleh tanya. Something not presented pun panel boleh tanya. So basically sama juga. Last sekali dia tengok at the research gap, your tables, critical review, are you deducing new part finding? So if you come up with a good piece of literature review, actually you can publish it. You can publish your literature review. It's a review article. Okay, so the cap for assessment, if you're talking about DRP, title 5%, problem statement 20%, literature review 20%, so it's 40%. Problem statement 20%, literature review 20%, so it's about 40% out of your punya literature review. Dan also the significance, significance also you can get the significance from literature review. Kalau tak tahu how significant is your work, from literature, from past work, they will explain that this work is significant, is important in what area, in what area. So this is dia ni lah, nanti tengok. Okay, so for DRP, I would say that literature review is very, very important. Okay, this is the rank. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unlike Viva, rank 3, you have to represent again. Kena repeat by DRP. So target 1 or 2. 2 is good enough. 1 ni perfect lah. Not so many. My student dah banyak berbelas student saya pun seorang pun tak pernah dapat lagi yang 1. 2 is good enough. 2 is good enough. Okay, these are the things. Bila panel tengok, these are the things. They will look at the research gap, whether the way you write is critical review or not, all topics covered, is it comprehensive, is there any underlying theories. So if your research you put a few equations would be good. And then we also use the literature review to justify why are you using this method, why are you using this. This we can justify based on previous study or based on standard or based on something. So that all need to be done, literature review lah, based on literature review. And then references pun reliable and fair. Not so many from your SV or your group. Not so many from your group. You can have 1 or 2, but more of it biarlah daripada berbagai pihak. So the best thing is that you have literature review tu, the references from few school of thoughts. Contohnya kalau cerita pasal Islamik pun mungkin ada 4 mazhab ke, lepas tu nak lataruk lagi yang lain-lain ke pun boleh. So that is for example. So jangan from one group je, from all the references from your groups only. Tu tak fair lah. Okay, this is an example. It's quite difficult to do it, but this is you show this based on experience. Show this in your DRP, then the panel can see clearly your current study compared to the other studies. So from here you can see that what is the difference between your studies and the work of others. And then you should show also the key references. For example, one method, the experiment that you do, ada situ. If you have numerical pun ada a few key references. Okay. And then also this is another example, sama juga basically, only the topics different. So this is a table showing that this is your work compared to the others.
Prof,
So
tak
the
nampak
verdict,
paper, Prof.
Ha?
Slide Prof dah tak ada lah.
tak ada.
Ha.
Sekarang keluar tak? Sekarang dah keluar belum?
Tak
Ada
keluar,
tak?
Prof.
Tak ada, Prof.
Keluar.
Tak nampak, Prof.
Tak nampak. Okay, okay. Thank you for informing. Kejap, dia terkeluar ke? Oh, dia terkeluar daripada share. Okay, kejap. Saya share balik.
Okey, dah nampak,
Dah
Prof.
keluar balik?
Nampak. Dah nampak dah.
Right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, saya balik. Ni this is example table ni. So this is the example. So this is the example ni table. So this is example, or this is another example kat sini. This is another example. So kalau based on experience, if you show this, and then memang panel tak ada masalah lah. So the verdict tu nanti, the result tu, in term of review, dia dua lah. Either it's a weak review or strong review. And then, do you manage to publish a review article? Kalau manage to review article, memang very good lah. That means your literature review tu no comment. Memang boleh accept. And then other than things, topik semua covered atau tidak. And then we talk about alignment. Is your research methodology aligned? Is your literature review aligned to your research methodology, discussion, etc., objective? But don't worry, not to be so worried, because if your literature review is not enough, even in the viva, the examiners will ask you to add section. Kata you be doing on statistical analysis, but in your literature review tak cerita pun pasal statistical analysis, so you can add. Okay, now let's go to literature review. This is the main thing that I want to discuss. Okay, what is literature review? Okay, tengok yang kuning-kuning aja lah, because there's a lot of wordy here. It's too wordy. Basically, literature review, you evaluate in synthesis. Nanti keyword saya bagi analysis and synthesis. Analysis, synthesis. So the references must be relevant and if possible recent. To show that knowledge has evolved. What people have done, what is trend, the current trend, and how you are going to masuk. So how are you going to join into the group? The way you show your research gap. And how your project will address this research gap. Okay. So the keyword is analysis and synthesis. All right, thank you. And then what is the meant by literature? Literature ni is a published information. Published information. So you do not have to include all the papers. You only include papers yang boleh relate to your work. Can be the main for debates, trend, and gap. To show the gap of your analysis. Okay, why search for academic literature? Why? Because when you do academic literature, you can see, what has been written and what is already known. So once you know what is already known and what do people do not know, then you can identify the gaps. And it's also that from the literature you can relate your work to this research work. And then from the research gap also you can tell people that you're going to do something new. Okay, what is the meaning of term review? Review pula. You want to identify. Can you identify what has been established, discredited, rejected, or accepted in your field? Accepted or discredited. Meaning there's a debate. Can you establish the debate? Can you see what is the area of controversy, of conflict? Dalam science and technology ni tak sangat lah, because we are based on basically underlying mechanics, kan? Ada teori-teori dia. But this is kalau social science lagi lah. There's a lot of controversial. And just give that, if you talk about the current government, okay or not okay, mesti ada banyak konflik there. But in our case, as long as following the underlying theory, then it's okay. And then what are the problems? Okay? So that's why if we do not know a problem pun, kita boleh refer pada, when we do literature review, we can see that. And then the emerging trends. So kita nak buat research kita ni yang up to date, yang emerging trends, novelty. So itu yang kita follow. And then from that, how you can extend or build upon your departs from your previous research. So basically, the keyword is not just summary. It's not just summary. Okay. Okay, ni saya bagi contoh sikit thinking. So saya juga diminta dalam ni nak untuk kita share teknik ke how to do critical thinking, critical observation. Now you critical observation. So based on my words just now and what I presented today, boleh tengok tak which one is literature review, which is not. Okay, for the first one, the place to ni place an argument. Okay, jawab sendirilah. Is it okay? A synthesis of range of sources. Is it literature review? Referring to literature review? A compilation of materials related to your research field, regardless its relevance to your project. Semua paper awak download 100 paper, semua nak masuk dalam tu. A descriptive summary of each and every text. A critical evaluation of sources related to your research topic. And then you present that in a list in which you discuss each intern. Buat satu discuss. Or is it simply a collection of texts that you think are interesting, or every text that you have read? Or a place to make explicit connections between previous research and your own. Explicit ni macam jelas, clear connection. You want to connect your research with past to yours. Because saya selalu cakap that if you're doing your research novelty, let's say your PhD, you're doing your research novelty, it's not only going to be novel in Malaysia or UiTM, it's going to be novel in the whole world. Then baru boleh publish dekat Q1 or Q2. Okay, so saya susun. So this is literature review is, and this is not. So it's not a list which you discuss in turn. It's not a descriptive summary of each and every text. It's not simply a collection of texts you think interesting or you have read. And it's simply not a compilation of material, sama ada benda tu penting atau tak. It include arguments, critical review. It includes synthesis, critical observation and review. And then also ada critical thinking, how you explicit connection, and of course dia ada critical evaluation. Okay. Now, my slide is showing characteristic. So selection of sources tu, in terms of selection sources, okay, you have download a lot of sources, so be selective. And then yang ada direct relevant. And then the other thing you have to think juga, the credibility, validity of the sources. For example, references from Q1 and Q2. Blog is not so reliable. Hari ni tulis lain, besok tulis lain. And then kalau website pun, tiba-tiba next week the website is gone. So try to get from a published Q1, Q2. Conferences also boleh digunakan but not so reliable because conferences papers basically it has not gone through a thorough punya review. Okay, this is the thing. Now we need to come up with the critical thinking for you to work clinical review. The word is analysis and synthesis. Okay, so analysis ni you break down the relevant literature into constituent part. Analysis means individual paper. Synthesis, how you are going to connect them. How are you going to connect them? Which have been identified in the analysis. Tak apa, nanti ada example lagi. Okay, so the first, okay, kalau buat individual sources, you zoom in. You analyze satu-satu. You zoom out into broader field, then you can do the synthesis. How to rate between this paper and that paper. That is synthesis. And you need to observe it critically. Kalau satu-satu paper je basically is analysis. What the paper have done, what paper ni, that is analysis. Okay. For example, this. Okay. So individual sources, you have paper A, paper B, okay. You have paper A, paper C, and paper D. You have paper A, paper B, paper C, and paper D. Right? So paper A is related to concept 1. From there, you can see that paper B support concept A, paper B concept, support concept. Paper D, support concept D, but contradict, resource C contradict to A. So when you ambil ni, you do the discussion out of this, it will be synthesis. And the way you write will become critical review. Akan critical review. Ini yang dimaksudkan. So you have like 4 sources, then you can write like 1 or 2 sentences. So that is the synthesis. Okay. So the keyword is analysis and synthesis. Okay. How are you going to help you to do that? It's easy. One of the way is you come up with it's called literature review matrix or synthesis matrix. So kena buatlah table ni. What are the topics ni? Don't worry, topics column tu it will expand. One add new columns, once you understand it will expand. So basically you put a few sources first, you recognize pattern. So in order for you to recognize the pattern, boleh tengok you do critical observation. Nanti saya bagi contoh lagi paper lain. So this is going to be critical observation. And then you look at the correlation between this paper and that. And then since dia ni thematic, at a glance, one page dia dah nampak dah, clear dah. Okay. Then you can add new columns, and this is one of the powerful tool for synthesizing. So you can do this, you can develop your synthesis matrix. Okay, where do you get the references? I said just now we talked about Q1, Q2 reliable. So do not worry, UITM as a student of UIM, you can access to do easy access. Dekat rumah pun boleh. Because if you like Science Direct, you need to access from UITM punya IP, UITM IP. But if you access easy access, you can access all the references from home. Boleh nampak sini ada online databases. Other than that, mana nak nampak resources, you can go to ResearchGate. Search my name, you can follow me or not follow me. Go to ResearchGate, you can ask, whatever people there, you can ask from the authors, minta. Other than that, saya juga guna iMechanica. iMechanica ni, tak silap saya from Harvard ni. Harvard, top university ni. Use that. Even you can post your problem. And Alhamdulillah, my supervisor at that time, dia memang sangat-sangat encouraging. She encouraged me to communicate with a lot of people. Overseas pun boleh. Just contact siapa-siapa nampak paper kat Belgium, you want to ask more, then you can contact them. Even saya dah contact, accidentally contact, email tak balas-balas. Lepas beberapa bulan tu rupanya anak dia balas. That researcher tu, Prof tu, bukan, dia tak balas pun. Saya Google, lepas tu saya jumpa ada dia punya takziah, ucapan cerita pasal in memory of dia. Maknanya dia dah meninggal. Sebab baik dia tak balas email saya. But what you can do is that you can contact people. Ingat kita international, novelty kita worldwide. So these are the example. If you have come up with a very good table, actually, you can publish a paper. And see this at a glance. Boleh nampak. In fact, if your matrix tu panjang sangat, there's a lot of information, what you can do, you can extract. So one part become one table, the other part become one table. Okay, this. So it's easy. I can see here, reviewed work on the use of experimental design on energy application. Saya cari untuk material application, saya tak jumpa. But energy saya jumpa. So saya nampak, these are the variable, these are the number of sample, model apa dia guna kan. So this is good. So this come out. So if you come up with a very good table, literature review, you can publish. Okay, so when you do to literature review, ni dia. So to us engineers, saya cakap research problem ni, essentially you do research, you are problem solving. We are solving problems. But of course for PhD, you solving problems in a novel way lah, ada novel way. Tapi the one that want to do solve problem. So there must be problem statement kan. So what people have done to solve that problem, the problem yang dapat tu. How they did it. So when reading, you focus on the title, objective, and then you can put it into your table. Remember, more references. If your DRP 50 references, your friend have 70, of course lah, dia nampak dia punya lagi banyak. And then of course you need newer references because you want to say the research gap. That problem tu is not the problem 20 years ago. Kan, you have to say that even though the problem might be have not been solved 20 years ago, but still panel ni macam takkan tak ada yang baru punya. So you need to come up also with the new references. But make sure whatever that you cite is correct. And then choose ni relate to your study and then find research gap and problems. Okay. Ni saya dah ulang banyak-banyak kali ni. I hope at the end of the day you know dah what is the main content of the review. It's talking about research gap, critical review, and then references kena ada banyak and reliable. Okay. One way that you want to do, okay, advanced scape is a new thing, is you come up with a technique called systematic literature review. I'm not going to tell you here, but that's if you look now, pergi pada tadi easy access tu, you go to Science Direct, you search for papers, review articles. You can see now there's a lot of papers now saying that systematic literature review. So it's a technique. So if you want more information, okay, I will share you the slide nanti. You can tengoklah sini. You can look here. Google sendiri. It's a technique by itself kat sini. Saya pun tak explore betul-betul lagi. Student saya pun tak explore betul-betul lagi. Okay, this is the example. Example of intro and organization for, in your case, literature review chapter 2. Okay, you may start chapter 2 and literature review. You start with, you give some information, and then what you need to do is you organize your subchapter dalam chapter 2 tu. So from this topic ni, panel boleh pantau whether it has covered all the methodology or not, all related to your work or not from here. So kalau tak ada nanti dia akan suruh tambah lah. This is the example. Okay. Okay, this is example of critical review. What you can do is not that one by one or by chronology, ikut tahun, tak juga. It's something you put the issue there, and then you have a few papers you discuss kat situ. So when it comes ini maknanya it becomes your word. It's not the word yang from the paper review atau siapa-siapa tu. Your own sentences. So that's why kita boleh publish. Kita boleh publish. So ingat tadi, one is supporting, one is arguing, one is say good, one is not good, one is say it's accurate, one is saying not accurate. So you put that, ada macam tu, that is example on critical review kat situ. You boleh tengok lah. For example, it could be suggested that universe FEA is not popular in the area. Okay, ayat yang, okay, the mathematical reasoning has described, okay, possibility to eagerness. You can say juga, boleh cakap critical ni, you critique. You can say the work tu not so accurate or not so applicable pun boleh juga. It doesn't matter. The first time saya hantar pada SV saya, my final thesis, SV saya kata, Prof Sam kata, it's not no element of critical review. So saya balik-balik, saya betulkan sikit. So saya start critique. Critiques paper orang juga. You can critique paper orang juga. You critique the work, you not critique the person. You critique the work. Okay? And writing arguments. Okay? This is an example of writing arguments. Okay? From the arguments, you can establish what has been done, what still need to be done, and how your study contributes to meeting that need. For example, although studies have done this, also this they have done this, there has not been this. Okay? Okay? This is the example sentence that you can use. Okay? Nak tengok sebab people have done that. But you said that this part have not been researched yet. This problem has not been solved yet. I'm going to solve this. I am going to solve it. But of course, your problem tu is like 3-5 years ago lah, not 20 years ago. Okay? So ni dia contoh-contoh ayat yang nak digunakan. Okay? Okay, and then different type of literature review, saya tak perlu explain banyak lah. So kalau journal, dia pendek sikit, dia panggil selective approach. For thesis, you have to be comprehensive approach. And if possible for DRP saya selalu susun saya buat chapter 1, 2, 3. So kalau boleh, for DRP, terus buat chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. So your chapter 2 should be comprehensive approach. And then the function of literature review, of course, dah cerita balik dah. Provide background, highlight trend, research development, and then clarity area of controversy, identify gap, justify the novelty, how your work is different from others. So I hope saya dah ulang-ulang banyak kali daripada beberapa sumber. So hopefully now you can get the point. Okay, this is the one punya ni daripada saya punya talk. This is the exercise actually. Okay, very quick. Number one, the review shows changes in particular field over time from early research to the most recent development. True or false? Okay, nombor dua, true or false? Nombor tiga, okay. Literature review clarify area of controversy, consensus, true or false? Nombor empat, a literature review just provide a background to your work, true or false? Tak kan, not a summary, kita kata tak true. 5, identify research gap, true or not? True. Number 6, I do not know because I was not paying attention to my talk. You're not paying attention to talk. True or not? False kan? It's false. Okay. And then kena lagi adjust your literature review. So basically ada ke sini true, banyak true lah. 2 aja false. Okay. And then the process. Okay, process. Remember literature review ongoing. Non-linear. Dia non-linear. Dia tak ada straight, tak ada formatnya. And then is iterative. Iterative means pergi balik, patah balik. Pergi balik, patah balik. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. So your first year, basically you do literature review to identify or to highlight your research question, research gap. Kan? And then to demonstrate familiarity. Yes, you do literature review juga to get knowledge. Bila dah baca banyak-banyak teori-teori benda, then you got the knowledge. That is first year. So, once you got that, then dia akan berkembang. So, during research, lepas DRP kena buat juga lagi. You to update. And then, kadang-kadang, once you did your research, you will see dia dah different way dah. You see you engage with the literature different way. Because the first year tak sangat, before DRP tu tak experience sangat. So, but then you, as long as the third year dah matured, so you can revisit again, and then you need to finalize your literature review before Viva. And also you can explore new field, masukkan dalam tu. And then you can contribute, you can mention your own finding, you nak masukkan how it relates to your literature review. So it's ongoing, non-linear and iterative process. Ni saya tak perlu bagi cakap lah. So basically what you need to do, search, locate dia punya literature, read the text, analyze, evaluate, and then you synthesis, and then you organize. So keyword dia sama lagi, cyclical, iterative. Okay, for science and technology, basically it's more specific, kan? Rather than kalau SNT ni, tajuk dia kadang-kadang ni terlalu general. Because we are bound with underlying theories, mechanics. So if you can put mathematics equation, that very good. Okay, and then, okay, ni for science and technology lah. Apa-apa. Okay, this is the main source, a very good source. So nanti boleh go through yang ni by yourself. Okay, this is from Cambridge University. Saya ni suka lah kalau buat refer apa, mesti saya nak refer juga kepada Cambridge University the top universities. So this is dia punya slides talking about literature review lah, searching, doing literature search. So basic is you do literature search, dapat, then you do the critical reading, critical observation, critical thinking, write notes. You have the research question, then buat lagi review, then it's a cycle. So it's cycle. Tapi sama juga, it's talking about synthesis, is talking about analysis. So I can say that basically sama, synthesis, analysis. So now next part that I have to cover. So habis literature review basically, senang aja kan literature review. So the problem statement. Okay, what are you going to be probe during problem statement? Dia tengok tu, problem tu critical or not. You don't want to solve problem which is not critical. Kita kalau boleh nak solve problem yang critical. Okay, issues and challenges, identified or not. Summarize, and then align tak you punya problem statement dengan research gap and objective. Okay, how to get that? Okay, since you have done your research, you dah ada research gap kat situ. So, okay, where do you get the main reference for problem statement? Either you do from the literature review that you've done, maybe from your own experience or your supervisors, or pass on by industry. Contohnya, industry bagi you this problem. So what you need to do is that you relate your punya problem statement relate to the research gap. Okay. or the actual problem. So it relate. Research gap that means research have not been done, but what is the problem? It can be related to a real problem. So what are the current problem? Okay, you said you want to come up with a new tool. So what are the current problem with the new tools? What are the problem with the new process, new procedure? What are the problem with the new model that you want to, why it need improvement? So that is something that you have to highlight. So the word basically is negative. Kalau you talk about problem statements, it's the problem. So negative, not economic, difficult to manufacture, not accurate, not reliable, always break down, no available theory, not efficient, time consuming, and this will lead to this, your problem statement will lead to your research objective. Okay, ni example. Kalau tengok paper, you can clearly, example yang saya bagi, tengok, they start with saying the literature review, research gap, that it comes the problem statement. All my sources ni saya ambil ni daripada yang reliable lah, Q1, Q2 punya ni. But if you look at the basically conference paper, kadang tak nampak benda ni, it's not been written well. Okay, this is another example. This is another example. Nampak je sama kan, tapi this is another example. You can see there also, literature review kat situ. Okay, jap. Dia tangkut pula. Okay, so ini so rubric and comment, what are the example comment? This one. Okay, tu tadi So daripada komen tu tadi, okay, this is the comment lah. Mean you need to align, You need to align to the objective. Okay. The one good, another good way to align is that you have 4 problem statements. You are relating it directly to your 4 objective. So basically, this is, kalau saya cakap ni, this is from my master thesis, my students' master thesis. Okay. Now let's go to research question. Okay. Research question ni for engineering, actually engineering thesis tak ada yang ada yang tak ada. It's not quite critical lah, because in most cases the problem statements is there. But from the problem statements, and you want to relate to that, you can come up with a research question. So saya ambil this research question basically from the, because my students, most of their thesis, we do not include research question, and not been asked to include by examiners pun. But if you need that, this one I shared with you from grant, FRGS grant, dia nak research question. So kalau lah fundamental is asking about how and why. So one of the way, if you want to put, you can put how input affect outputs. Tapi ayat dia ayat your term lah. So how the what? The force input or how the thickness affect the failure behavior of a material. The thickness or the volume. So there are you relate dependent variable and dependent variable. So these are the question boleh tengok lah. How, why. Tapi kalau possible, if possible, include semua jugalah. What, where, who, when. If you have, ni lagi lah nampak. Jangan is, does, this, is this. Itu research question. Kalau macam tu saya rasa macam tak perlu tulis lah. You don't have to include that if just is this, is and does. Okay, now critical thinking, tadilah. If you look here, you need how to develop. You do the analysis, you do the synthesis, you do your critical observation from the synthesis matrix. Then basically you can develop your critical thinking. From here ni boleh nampak critical thinking. 4 papers, baca, dan that's why you have to be meticulous. So how you going to get your meticulous? Is basically on your attitude. Tengok dekat slide saya. Tengok kat slide saya, ada tak error? Mungkin ada error. Tapi less than 5% tak? Minimal tak? Ada tak spelling error, line error? Banyak tak? So try to be meticulous. Tengok saya present pun saya tak ada letak macam tarik-tarik gambar kan. Some student gambar tarik here and there kan. Aspect ratio jadi kembang lah, jadi gemuk lah. So try to make your work be meticulous. Okay. So summary of literature review. Basically this is in 1 page. Okay. You have easy access to download. And then what else? Okay. Tengok kat situ lah. What, how. So you come up with the synthesizing analysis. Do you have the process? What is the characteristic of literature review? Where is the destination? The destination will come up from the outcomes. Human table study. What are the tools? You can use synthesis matrix, literature review, or some people use fishbone. You develop using fishbone. It's up to you. It's up to you as long as the element of critical review, as long as ada tu. And it comes with new perspective. You get to know new things, knowledge, understand, and then you open up perspective. Bila tengok eksperimen, oh baru tahu pula. There's new experiment yang simple that can you use for your work. Okay. Okay. In conclusion, okay. Read and read. Download, read. Iqra kan. Surah yang pertama Al-Quran pun dah kata Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq. And of course kalau tengok kat ayat 5 tu dia mengajar manusia melalui pena juga. So you read and also you write. Target to write Q1, Q2 papers, impactful papers. Okay, so this is something extra, not related really, time planning. Okay, you need to have a war plan. Because talking about GOT, you need to have your war plan, put it in front of you, ni table bila. You need to know what you need. You need to know what to do. The requirement daripada buku tadi. Bila nak DRP, bila ada kursus-kursus yang macam ni, kursus-kursus yang ISIS buat, COE buat, bila nak publish paper, bila nak copyright, bila nak masuk ID, when you should come out this. So this is a war plan. Kalau kita zoom, basically year 1, these are the things that you need to do. For PhD, you need tie 2. Okay? And then year 3 pun you have this. Bila nak IG seminar, 3-minute thesis, okay? All these things. The important thing yang ada dalam buku tadi tu, buku thesis tu, you have to do that. Okay? Revision, plagiarism sikit. Because when we talk about plagiarism, of course, writing mesti ada plagiarism. Okay, saya relate juga plagiarism ni dengan attitude. Okay. So kat sini, okay, tengok ni. We have the 4 cases. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tak sempat nak tanya. Tak apa. Saya bagi jawapan terus. Okay. Which one? So the first one, quote, unquote, cite. So it's not plagiarized. Other than that, you use the same sentence. You quote, tak ada quote, unquote. You cite saja. No question mark. Plagiarize. You rephrase. No source. Plagiarize. Ataupun ambil ayat sama lagi lah. Ambil ayat sama tak ada source. So you need to rephrase. And then you need to cite. Barulah not plagiarize. Okay, and then is this. You have your references kan. Bila we talk about references relate to literature review, kat mana yang banyak? Okay, so this. So ingat, see, when you do literature review, you have a lot of references there. This is for critical review or supports is a gap. Introduction, you can support some of the statement. Second, banyak is your findings. Because you need to support, you need to discuss kan. You discuss your result dengan previous research, your literature review. So itu tunjuk results jangan cite because you cite dekat result then people nampak macam they do not know the panel. Is it your result or dia punya orang lain punya result? And then abstract also make sure no citation, conclusion also no citation. Okay. UiTM ada tak polisi akademik plagiarism? Ada. Ini dia. So jangan plagiarize. Jangan plagiarize. Okay. Okay. So basically I have explained in brief. Okay. Literature review, what is review, synthesis, analysis, problem statement, real problem come from research gap, and then question, research question you want to put. Okay. How you going to work about that. And then how you develop your critical thinking. Tadi kalau ada table-table tadi banyak tu matrix tu kan. And also basically I covered about ethical issues. Now sample of my postgraduate study nak bagi encourage you to inspire you to graduate on time. Okay, this is Dr. Azizul convert Dr. Azizul convert. So from masters to PhD. Tapi dia convert so he got his PhD at the age of 27. 28. Okay, this is your output. So dia ada IP, copyright, masuk dalam ID, menanglah Gold Award. We won Gold Award kat sini. And then of course when there's opportunity, try to go overseas. Present papers, pergi industri pun kalau ada, pergilah ke industri. Buat network dengan industri. So this is Fuad. Dia GOT. GOT at UiTM 4 years. You can complete everything in 4 years. You submit your thesis more than 4 years. If you want APC, submit your thesis within less than 3 years, then you can get APC. Ini GOT, but you can see dia punya output. Ada paper-paper yang WOS juga, so dia pun ada dia punya produk kat sini, logo dia Hybro, and then dia masuk IIDEX 2019, dia dapat Diamond Award. Alhamdulillah dapat RM1,000. Okay, this is Dr. Umay, APC. So she converted from masters to PhD. So within 1 year convert, and then she submit her thesis ni, tengok 26/10/27. So she got APC. When you got APC, boleh pakai serempang. And she managed juga publish in a Q2 lah, not Q1, tapi 2.6 687 on the work tu. Good enough and a few kat sini. Tak menang anugerah lain sebab dia tak sempat hari tu, dia tak nak submit dia punya application untuk anugerah diraja. So tak ada rezeki dia lah. Okay, Jos dia rajin pergi exhibition. Juga dapat peluang pergi overseas and then ada IP. This Dr. Gazira. Dr. Gazira pun my PhD graduate. Of course lah, ini tak ada, tapi dia dah dapat award dekat Canada pun, masuk ID, dan juga dia publish dekat Albudo. Yang dia publish ni, paper ni, this is actually adalah paper literature review. From her literature review, she publish impact factor 1.238. So she managed to publish that. And this is my first graduate lah, Dr. Fazli. Ada lagi ni, tapi dia pun tak tulis banyak lah sini. So dia pun pergi research attachment. So semua yang ada peluang pergi attachment, pergi research attachment. Okay, this is dia punya convo yang hari tu, plus one Dr. Noria. This is main supervisor. Dia graduated 2019 punya convocation. Ada one saya SB seorang lagi, Dr. Noria. Alhamdulillah, I got the anugerah penyelih terbaik. Dia graduated kat situ lah. Okay. Okay, my campaign lagi satu, kena muhasabah diri selalulah. Sujud syukur, solat tahajud. I have seen that orang yang tak solat tahajud, output dia memang superb. Luar biasa. Orang tahajud, output dia luar biasa. So, semayanglah, semayang duha, semayang apa, istighfar, semua buatlah. Bagus ni buat PhD ni kita, atau masters, kita susah hati. Nanti kita akan ingat Tuhan. Alright, so this is my contact number. If you want to contact me, feel free. If not, just Google my name Jamaluddin Mahmud. Okay, there's also available videos. Saya bagi talk dekat IPSIS, they uploaded dengan ni. Bukan saya yang upload, IPSIS yang upload. So there's a lot of material that can you use. So I think again, final word, meticulous. Okay, so okay, I end my talk here. Alhamdulillah tepat-tepat pukul 10. So I'm not sure whether we have time for question and answer or not. If not, then it's okay lah. Slide saya akan share nantilah. Okay. So.
Okay, thanks so much, Prof. J. Alright, so I think we have 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A session, Prof.
Oh, ada.
Ada. Sekejap, Prof. 10 minit, 15 minit, okay lah. So maybe yang nak bertanya.
Alright.
So you can switch off your phone tu, microphone tu, and then you can ask question. So anyway, thanks a lot, Prof. Jamal, for the inspiring sharing session. Okay, hopefully semua dapat something lah daripada apa yang dikongsikan oleh Prof. InsyaAllah.
Saya mohon maaf lah kalau ada tersalah cakap ke apa kan. Niat saya nak share saja. We are all in the learning process. Do not worry. So banyak benda yang tak tahu. So awak tak tahu, saya pun tak tahu. And you can just Google my name. Feel free lah. I have given you my number. Saya ni tak ada protokol sangat. Kalau orang nak tanya-tanya sekarang ni, duk communicate dengan Indonesian pun dia tanya juga pasal PhD semua. So it's okay. Kalau rasa-rasa nak communicate with me, it's okay. You can just Google my name and then communicate. Kita nak tanya, kalau tak nak tanya kat sini lah. Okay. Lain kalau ada soalan nak tanya. Kalau tak, just ni lah. Okay, ada soalan tak?
Ya, Tuan Prof, ambil masa ni. Saya bagi peluang.
Analysis and synthesis, literature review tu. Boleh faham tak tadi? Faham kot. Sebab saya punya slide memang banyak, tapi point dia sikit je. Okay. InsyaAllah.
Tak ada ni, ramai ni, tak ada yang tanya.
Tak.
Okay, so untuk preparation on DRP ni, so mungkin ada yang tak sure to set their research objective, particularly for their masters and PhD. So rule of thumb lah, berapa supposedly for masters berapa objektif and PhD how many objectives should be set for their
ini basically number-number ni bukan school of thought saya lah. Okay, just sharing, thank you. Ini school of thought Asian countries ni, especially the Malaysia ni kan. Dia pun tengok by number. Sebenarnya kalau kita kata by number lah, experience saya, masters you can set 2 to 3. 2 2 to 3 objective. HD you
Yeah.
can set 3 to 3 to 5 lah 3 to 5 you can set. But the most important thing is that you have written the objective tu clearly, and that objective 1 tu dah boleh nampak output dia apa. Let's say that you have one objective telling that the first one you will come up with a new mathematical equation to predict COVID-19 in 5 years time. Kan? And that equation is memang orang tak pernah buat. So that one objective tu actually dah cover dah you punya thesis. In fact, one of our senior, is it true story, MMU, dekat MMU masa tu dia kata dia buat thesis, MMU cuma bagi satu objektif saja in his thesis. It won't be, tak nampak pun, you write 5 thesis, tapi semua to determine kan? Tak. Objektif ni bila saya tulis, selalunya saya akan relate dengan Bloom's taxonomy kan? Bloom's taxonomy. You have level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So untuk masa PhD ni dah batas. You want to synthesis something. What means synthesis? Synthesis you produce something which have not done, which tak ada, benda tak ada jadi ada. That is synthesis. So if you come up with new tools, new ni, then good. So the objective tu must be clear. Kalau student saya sekarang ni, dia letak objektif kat tepi tu, dia dah tulis objektif pertama bagi objektif je, the second slide tu dia relate objektif dengan outputs. So objektif pertama, the output is that dia keluarkan computational model. Okay, novel atau tak? Tak novel. Tak apalah, tak novel. At least validation. The second one, dia kata dia keluar dengan apa? Problem which have not been solved, atau new material, atau tu something. Ada novelty also. Dia kata part dia apa, dia kat situ. And then maybe the third one dia nak keluar apa? Like say a new equation or new, I do not know, something yang tak ada, then dia buat. So it's clear, no? One objective, actually you can have one or a few outputs. And from the outputs, if you look in novel, you can straight away copyright. Nak pattern pun boleh lah, tapi pattern selalunya produk. Kan? Pattern, product or process. And it will take a longer time. What you can do kalau nak cepat, you copyright first. So once you have copyright, then you can join IID. So if you need to collaborate with industry, you collaborate with industry. Kena ambitious sikit lah. Kena ambitious sikit.
Yeah.
So that's why I said that. So one of my every student saya akan kata, and then my student tu bila dia come up with something new, contohnya buat material senang sikit lah kan, campur dia come a new material kan. So I ask them to come up with a name and then with a logo. Kan perasan tadi kan ada logo. So setiap student saya grad dia ada logo, dia ada produk, dia ada IP. Tapi tak semualah sebab some of the masters tu they just do simulation using computer software. So kalau using computer software susah sikit dia nak claim dia punya novelty tu. Okay? Tapi if you buat program, even you buat program, a simple program but have not been written before. Buat program, kenapa yang bagusnya buat program ni? Once you do program, you can include new theories, you can include new equation, you include new technique. Orang ni buat algorithm kira macam ni, you may kira macam ni. Is it a new thing? If you can prove it by literature review, it has not been, people have not done that before, that also novel. It's a novel algorithm. Bukan susah sangat. I would say that, kalau if that is 103, ada 100 orang dalam ni, I would say that 103, tak mungkin ada seorang tak kira buat masters ke, buat PhD ke, saya tak rasa ada seorang akan buat benda yang sama dengan orang sebelum ni, betul tak? Saya confirm. So there must be a sort of novelty there. Memang bisa. But you have to look down. Cumanya kadang-kadang yang ada beberapa orang tak faham. Dia ingat novelty ni macam you come up with wow, kan? Macam something. Novelty ni means innovation. You come up with new thing, you solve this, you innovate sikit benda ni, it reduce dia punya time. Bila reduce time, it reduce the cost. Atau you make it simpler. See, the objective ni selalunya ada dua. Either you want to go for accuracy, when you improve something, either you want to go for accuracy. So kalau model nak panjangkan model tu, ataupun sebenarnya daripada 2D jadikan 3D. Okay? Atau you want to go for simplicity. Faham tak simplicity? Ada equation panjang, you propose satu equation, tambah equation tu, tambah lagi 3 term, masukkan ni, masukkan katakan COVID lah, ambil COVID, masukkan udara, masukkan air, masuk. Tiba-tiba bila you buat, result tu improve, let's say only like 1%. Tapi kerja dia bertambah, program tu nak bertambah 5 pages. Ataupun kerja tu nak tambah banyak. Berbaloi tak? Tak berbaloi kan? Rather what you do, you simplify. So you have one equation, long equation, pendek, tapi result dia okay. That's why kata result will give reasonable accuracy. So tu dia target. So in your work now, what you doing? What is your target? Sebab saya suka, kalau engineering macam saya selalu tekankan, when we do research, we are solving problems. We are problem solver. Saya selalu ikut dulu Tok Guru saya Datuk Au, dia kata engineers should solve problem, not create problem. Sebab dulu kami yang kelas kadang kami create problem lah, atau kan kata problem kan, nanti dia ingatkan balik. Engineers should solve problem, not create problem. Jadi we are problem solver dan orang akan appreciate kita. Tak semua orang lah kan, sebab kalau kita buat hand tu memang ada orang tak nampak, tapi what I do actually, kita ada problem kita solve. That is critical thinking tau. That is critical thinking. So you go that, but you have to argue lah. Okay, why kata pakai ni? See, people have used this equation yang panjang-panjang ni, ataupun people buat model 3D, model 3D, tiba-tiba you buat 2D, result dia almost similar. Difference tu maybe dalam, let's say 2% to 3%. But the time tu, dia punya mudah tu mudah. So is it innovation? Yes, it's still innovation. But how are you going to highlight that? You have to discuss lah dalam you punya kerja. You have to convince the panel that yes, this is novel. If you go to industry, dia orang nak benda yang simple. Tengok kalau dia buat design pun, M&E tu design, basically kita boleh kata kan, kalau dia tak beli yang tailor-made software tu, dia pakai Excel. Seriously, dia pakai Excel aja untuk design dia punya benda. Kita ni dah terlalu train guna 3D kan. Nanti kita propose, company, okay, saya propose nak solve problem ni guna software. Kata guna kena beli Abacus. Berapa harga? 80,000. Saya ajar FEA, saya selalu tekan kasus saya macam tu. 80,000. 80,000 you want to invest to solve this problem? And then tiba-tiba soalan datang, this problem can be solved using equation je. Analytical method. Use equation saja. Equation. And then equation ni pula boleh kira pakai tangan. Wah. Ataupun, equation ni susah. So kita nak tulis pakai MATLAB. MATLAB pun susah juga, kita kena beli. Tak apa, saya boleh buat pakai Excel. Tiba-tiba, yelah. There you go. Company ambil awak. Company minat dengan awak. So that's how we do it. Saya ni, kalau scholar ni, saya panggil indigenous technology. Saya suka develop benda-benda murah. Saya punya, mana hala tuju saya belajar daripada Thailand, saya belajar daripada India. Saya belajar daripada Thailand, daripada India. Dia develop hari tu, alat-alat dia yang harga RM RM1, RM RM2. Guna kayu, guna ni. So ini tadi. Yang Jepun ni kaya-kaya. Jepun kaya-kaya, 1M. Jepun ni orang sakit ni nak pakai robot. Sakit ni pakai robot. Pakai ni. Memang betul tak ni. Bagus. Bukan saya kata tak bagus. Dua-dua bagus. Tapi dia ada pros and cons dia. So saya ni fundamentalist. I'm basic. Saya di-train sebagai fundamentalist. Kena analytical sikit. So memang produk-produk saya ni, saya akan guna ni. Saya nak guna dulu, sudah saya PhD Gazira, nak guna motion capture system. Pergi UM, charge sampai 9,000. Kita ada dan kita pun pakai. Sekali guna 100.5. Buat berapa analysis pun beribu-ribu. Last kita develop sini guna Kinect. Cuma. Kita guna Kinect. Result tepat macam tu? Tak, of course tidak. Tetapi it's comparable untuk benda-benda yang simple. So this is the something that I want you to critical thinking. Jangan terlalu marah. Especially ni, saya suka last saya last ni sebenarnya perkataan adalah, saya suka ayat ni, resources are limited. Resources are limited. Kita ni sekarang tak ada duit, tak ada ni, tak ada equipment, tak ada ni. But creativity is limitless. Creativity ni abundance. Semua kita ni dalam fikiran kita ada creativity. So we solve the same problem maybe from the different angle using a low cost. Okay, saya rasa itu saja kot Dr. Afzan.
Ada satu soalan ni Prof. Mungkin satu last single question daripada Muhammad Hadi ni. Dia tanya ni, Dr. Prof ada mention dalam result tak letak reference.
Ya.
Right, betul kan? So macam mana pula dengan expected result?
Expected result untuk DRP
Untuk DRP.
tak perlu sebenarnya, tak perlu. Tapi kalau dia macam ni je, bila awak letak kat result tu, oh okay, sebab awak nak tunjuk awak akan dapat graf macam ni. Yes, you can put. But you have to mention clearly lah. Sebab macam ni sebab bila kita letak dekat pada result tu ada reference, maknanya tu bukan result kita, result orang. So kalau ada orang kena letak reference lah. Tapi dekat final thesis, kat Viva nanti final thesis, kat thesis sendiri, result sendiri, jangan letak sebab nanti panel ingat itu result orang. So kalau dekat DRP boleh lah, expected result boleh. Tunjuk. Okay, boleh.
Okay.
Alright.
Ada satu lagi, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, awak ni ujung-ujung baru bertanya. Okay, boleh. Tak ada masalah. If we applied an existing fabrication method to an application, but the method had never been used for that application before, is it considered novelty?
That one sebenarnya method tu taklah, sebab you just apply the method. But if you applying the method and it's going to give you the something new, ataupun you did some modification to suit your need. Contoh tensile test lah, tensile test. Kita buat tensile test, dah semua dah tahu tensile test kita guna pada metal-metal lain. So tak ada novelty di situ. So what I would advise to suit your punya fabrication method tu, you put some innovation, ada modification sikit. That sikit modification tu, kalau nampak hasil dia something, then you can claim that novelty. You buat analisis betul-betul, you can write a short paper, send to Q1, Q2 papers. Write a short paper. Tapi analisis tu memang statistical. You have to prove that your sikit modification tu memang accurate semua, better lah. That mean better. Tapi setakat guna je, tak macam guna FEA lah kan. Guna FEA, FEM, orang guna untuk model ni, you buat model lain. That one is very difficult lah to mention the novelty. Alright. Okay.
Alright. Thanks, Prof.
Alright.
Okay, I think that is all, Prof. Tak ada rasanya, insyaAllah. Okay, so on behalf of organizing committee, terima kasih, Prof, for having your time this morning, sharing with inspiring session, inspiring sharing this morning, untuk bagi a little bit insight lah, guidelines to our postgrad student. Okay, so itu saja, Prof, untuk pagi ini. Kita akan ada sesi kedua pula, Prof, lepas ni dengan Profesor Maja Dr. Hafiz Mahmud.
Saya exit the group.
Okay, boleh, Prof. Okay, thanks, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum. Okay, so 10.30 kita ada sesi bersama Prof Maja Dr. Hafiz Mahmud. So boleh break dulu kita guna link yang sama untuk sesi tersebut